I feel like going back even further beyond to the days of the golden age of Dragon Ball Z. In this power scale, I will be using both calculated power levels as well as working out how much stronger the characters got from various points in the Z series. For the purposes of this video, I will only be referring to the manga continuity as the Z anime tends to go a little crazy with the scaling. This is going to be an exciting power scale where I will explain all of my reasons for any headcanon that is applied to the vague world of Dragon Ball levels of power. This is one series you don't want to miss out on. This is going to be focusing on the manga only. I could make a future series on the power of the Z anime, but for now, I want to ground Dragon Ball Z as much as possible to Toriyama's original work. And you know I don't like asking you guys to like the video, subscribe. It seems like a standard YouTube thing to do these days, so do what the hell you want. But liking the video really helps out. So to begin this monstrous Dragon Ball Z power scale, we will continue with the power levels left us at Super Saiyan Goku vs Frieza on Namek. So let's get started with the Trunks saga, where power level gimmicks came to a cutting end, pun intended. And I don't think I've mentioned yet, but I'm only scaling the manga of Dragon Ball Z. It's just the manga, not the anime. But in all seriousness, everything after Namek is pretty much all headcanon in terms of numbers, and we're all going to be different with our numbers, so I think the most important thing about my version is just have fun and enjoy the ride. If you want the numbers to be different, go ahead and make your own video. So how strong is Mecha Frieza? He does indeed get stronger, but why in the manga, why is it reasonable for Frieza's power to be at 60 million when he arrives on Earth? Let's look at the sources in the manga. Gohan states Frieza's power as, "This is nothing, he gets way stronger than this, so this cannot be 100% Frieza's power on Namek." But also, Frieza claims he's grown more powerful, yet looks like his less bulkier 50% level on Namek. To credit both statements, it's reliable to say Frieza is currently at 60 million due to familiarity of ki. But this doesn't mean he has to be 50% anymore if his overall power has grown. What we see is not 50% Frieza. Frieza's 100% power is higher than before, and this means his 50% power now would be higher than on Namek. That's how I interpret it. He also implies he could beat Goku's Super Saiyan power on Namek now, probably being a good possibility. So if Frieza has increased in power and he's comparing it to Goku's power on Namek, we can safely put his 100% power now at least on par with 150 million on Namek, due to Frieza's confidence in achieving a win over Goku now. That's assuming he fights alone and not with Daddy to help him. So actually Frieza is 60 million, but it's now his 40% power from what everyone is sensing, if that makes sense. So while he's still revealing a similar power that he had on Namek, he's still grown stronger overall, because he's only at 40%. It's difficult to apply a growth multiplier to Vegeta after Namek and before Super Saiyan. Plot had Vegeta just stumping his growth compared to those who unlock Super Saiyan. We don't know exactly where Vegeta or Piccolo's power is from the manga alone, but I will try my best to gauge them. Now, Vegeta's power level versus final form Frieza is always a debatable one, but how I like to gauge it is if Goku was 3 million, but second form Frieza was over 1 million, Vegeta was confident in his power after sensing third form Frieza, so he may be closer to the 2 million mark by the time he fought final form Frieza. I don't believe in the manga it was ever stated Frieza was fighting at 1% power. I just remember him saying his 50% power would turn Goku to cosmic dust or something like that. So his 1% power would be 1.2 million, so it makes sense for Frieza to be at around 3% maximum power whilst he was messing around with Goku before he turned the heat up to 50%, making his power 3.6 million at the beginning, enough to just have an edge over Goku's 3 million, and this 3% power in turn would have crucified Vegeta's 2 million power level, which it did. In the manga, Frieza could have been at 5%, especially if he was handling giant energy blasts and deflecting them, but he was always toying with his prey. But on Earth, my headcanon would put Vegeta and Piccolo around the same level of power because they always had this romantic vibe of respect to each other. We can put them around 5 to 10 million here after 1.7 years, so some form of amp. Not that it matters much right now. They both start sweating thinking about Frieza's suppressed power. I don't like to label their power here because it's flat out headcanon, but we definitely know they ain't in the same ballpark as 50% Frieza on Namek. Where do I place future Trunks? Well, this one is debatable, but I like to use the good old domination multipliers, which I'll explain in more detail in just a minute. So Super Saiyan Future Trunks, I have him at 1.75 times 100% Frieza, to completely dominate him comfortably, as well as being able to handle King Cold if he jumped in as well to help Frieza, which you would assume Trunks would calculate that possibility. 1.75 times plus the Sword Strike, plus Frieza was 40%. This justifies the one-hit KO, no messing around. Trunks' power level is 262,500,000, and his base form is 5,250,000. Now, Goku has been training on Yardrat, but we can't calculate it based on training growths. Instead, I go with his battle against Trunks. Of course, Goku said Trunks didn't put his heart into the strikes, or words along those lines, but this is Goku, with one finger against a Super Saiyan. If Goku used his full potential, I'm pretty sure he could overwhelm Trunks here, so I put Super Saiyan Goku at 1.25 times Trunks, meaning his power level is 328,125,000, and his base form is 6,562,500. Just over 2 times stronger in 2 years this time around. Let's talk about the 3 years training and how strong the Earthlings got. There are 2 ways we can go about this, but it doesn't really matter. Now, before everyone leaves to train, Piccolo says they shouldn't bother turning up if they think they don't stand a chance or will drag the team down. Now, I have my thoughts on this. Yes, you could put everyone at Frieza level at bare minimum, because why would they turn up to an android threat if the androids could mince Frieza, right? It's possible. Dragon Ball is wacky. Now, there's a reason I count it and a reason I discount it. Firstly, these guys are not cowards. They are the heroes of Dragon Ball. They are going to show up for story purposes. The situation has happened before. Even if the odds were against them, they stand up in the face of the enemy and fight back. That's who they are. Look at the Saiyan saga. Krillin would get obliterated by Nappa or Vegeta, but he showed up. Heck, he only got us strong enough to be relevant to Raditz, and he knew the next Saiyans would be even stronger, so he was clearly not able to compete one-on-one, but he showed up. This sense of urgency in the Android saga is similar to the Saiyan saga. Characters like Tien wanted to go just to test his limits as a warrior. He even admitted if he dies, he dies, so he's not counting on being stronger than the threat, only to do his best. But like I said, there's times in the story that the plot halts the growth of some characters and only allows certain characters to progress insanely fast. Goku on Yardrat was one of those times. Look at Piccolo training with King Kai in such a limited time. Look how strong he got after Earth but before fusing with Nail. It's insane. However, Pink Shirt Vegeta, he hit a brick wall for a long time. And he's a Saiyan. But I did try in the manga to find out if Vegeta trained in the 1.7 years on his search for Goku, but I couldn't find it in the manga, so that's why I left out a huge growth multiplier for him at that point. However, post-Cell Saga and in Super, these guys grow insanely fast. Plot helps the growth, ladies and gentlemen. However, on their way to the android threat, Krillin made it clear to Goku his worry about the battle and that they are not Super Saiyans like him. So even if they all manage to get to Frieza's level through 3 years of hard training, they shouldn't be worried about not being a Super Saiyan level, right? Because they are all pretty much close to half of Super Saiyan Goku on Namek, right? It feels like the dialogue is implying through Krillin that these guys are nowhere near Goku. But they definitely do get stronger. I just can't say by how much exactly. Now, there's a reason why it can be supported that the Earthlings' base powers are much higher, is because the androids mistook Yamcha for Goku, but there's a reason behind this. These androids are on the hunt for Goku. A strong power compared to basic humans could be considered Goku to them, if they didn't see his face. Giro was comparing the high energy to humans, and thought it could be Goku until they scanned him and it was Yamcha. These androids haven't sensed Goku's new power yet. Yamcha is nowhere near the base power of Goku here. Yamcha states he can't keep up with Goku's training at all, so he will train at his own leisure. Now we're at Android 19 versus Goku. Piccolo senses something wrong when Tien was amazed at Goku's Super Saiyan power. Piccolo's been training with Goku for 3 years. He knows his power, but he's concerned that Goku's power doesn't feel right. Goku is indeed weakened here as a Super Saiyan, but even as a weakened Super Saiyan, he tanks Android 19 with ease. Not to the point where 19 bounces off Goku's body without any effort, but Goku can use one hand to stop 19's dive-in attack. And this is where the domination multipliers come into fruition. Times 2 or more is when someone can effortlessly tank and dominate an opponent with ease. 1.25 times stronger is a low domination multiplier where they can start overwhelming an opponent, but it was clear here Goku was a higher end domination multiplier of 1.75 times Android 19, and this is a weakened Super Saiyan Goku. Piccolo states he's weak, and this power is nothing. It should be far above this, so we know it's not 1.2 trillion. It's reasonable to say far below half. I feel even with Goku at 50% power, Piccolo would never ever refer to his power as weak or nothing, so I will go with Goku's weakened power being a quarter of his max potential. And whatever 19 absorbed was enough to greatly overwhelm the constantly weakening Goku. But to work out how much 19's power grew, he absorbed a Kamehameha, which raises Goku's energy by 2.2 times. Gero stated Goku's power drastically decreased, so it's reasonable to say 19 absorbed that level of power onto his own, and pretty much took the leftovers of Goku's base when he climbed on top. Now Vegeta enters the game and completely dominates 19, but not to the point he can tank attacks fully unharmed. He did take a punch to the face and it hit him out of his stance and he bled, so it's reasonable to say Super Saiyan Vegeta is now 1.75 times this new Android 19 power. There were some energy absorptions taking place during this fight, but Vegeta managed to turn the tide just in time. The Big Bang attack is a 3.5 times boost on whatever power he had remaining, which was enough against a defenseless 19. The Big Bang attack is a 3.5 times boost due to it being described as Vegeta's Super Saiyan version of a Gallic Gun in the Daizenshu, where in the Saiyan Saga the Gallic Gun was a 3.5 times boost in the beam struggle with Goku. And Vegeta being 1.2 times stronger than Goku goes in line with the dialogue suggesting he is stronger. But when it comes to Dr. Gero, he was confident he could beat Vegeta. Maybe Vegeta's power dipped considerably, but he was good with the bluffs. But if we were to calculate Dr. Gero's power, he is obviously comfortable with 19 absorbing Goku's power and then going after Vegeta, so long as Gero can have the other 4 fighters' power. Dr. Gero cannot be far from 19's highest power we saw, meaning if Dr. Gero could have beat Super Saiyan Vegeta, it means Vegeta lost over half of his power during 19's absorption. But you could put Dr. Gero even higher than that if you wanted to. Dr. Gero absorbs Vegeta's blast in the mountains, but it's unknown what the boost would be on this blast. It was clearly just a blast to ruin the mountain cover, so it probably wasn't even a percent of Vegeta's energy reserve. It's not a special attack or anything like that, so it's unknown what Dr. Gero absorbed here and how much stronger he got from this. Dr. Gero at this point knows the level of Vegeta's power through its performance against Android 19. He even believes he could beat Vegeta's power if he takes the power of the others and adds it to his own, so that should tell you something about Piccolo's upcoming performance and a hint where he is. Now Dr. Gero said Piccolo was almost out of energy when he was absorbing him, so how much did he absorb? Well, this one appears tricky because if he took a Piccolo's worth of power and added it to his own, how can a fresh Piccolo still whip Dr. Gero? That doesn't make sense using logic, right? And Gero even asked that. Well, the only way I can explain this, and how Piccolo basically explains it, is that Dr. Gero was absorbing a suppressed power of Piccolo. Fighters, even with base forms, they don't have to transform in order to raise or lower their power. Many people who didn't watch Dragon Ball before Super Saiyan forget the base forms can be as low as 5 or as high as the millions, at least around this time in Dragon Ball. Piccolo is not magnifying his rest in power or raising it to its full potential yet, because he's not in combat, so his true potential is not available to be absorbed. So whatever Dr. Gero had taken is just a large percentage of Piccolo's low suppressed power, and because Gero took nearly all of that, there wasn't a lot left to be magnified. And this is backed up by Piccolo stating this right here. Gero absorbed nothing in comparison to Piccolo's real power. Then the energy he absorbed in terms of Piccolo and the Ki Blast in the mountains, it was made no fuss over in the story, practically nothing. So this means if Max Piccolo is able to overwhelm Dr. Gero, Piccolo could be considered 1.25 times Dr. Gero, making him not as strong as Super Saiyan Goku, as Goku has almost enough to begin dominating Piccolo, but it makes sense for Piccolo to be this strong because he's been training with Goku for 3 years. Plus remember Piccolo's growth in the Namek Saga, he went from Saiyan Saga level to Nail levels, just from crossing Snake Way and spending a few days with King Kai. 3 years training with Goku to fall somewhat short of him is not a stretch for Piccolo at this phase in Dragon Ball Z, because Piccolo was still being pushed in terms of power. He had a lot of plot behind him. However, it still falls short from Vegeta, and it makes sense for the order right now in terms of strength to be Vegeta, then Goku, then Piccolo. So down the road, we get to Vegeta vs Android 18. Now this is a really interesting fight. You see, at the beginning of the fight, Vegeta was level with Android 18. Then she dodges his blast and says to Vegeta that he isn't using his full power, but neither was she. So we don't get a true gauge on these two until right now, and it's at this point 18 clearly starts to overwhelm Vegeta. How much stronger is she than Vegeta? Well, Android 17 admits that 18 can't handle all of them, which includes Piccolo and Trunks. Vegeta and 18 have a scuffle, and Vegeta gets a clean hit with his attack. Now, it's unclear if this is a big bang attack or just a strong blast. Either way, it's at this moment I believe it clarifies just who is the strongest in terms of raw power. 18 is just standing there with ruffled clothes after Vegeta blasted all over her. I mean, yeah, okay. Now, I would be inclined to say 18 is 2 times Vegeta, being able to tank his attack, but he managed to knock her down into the mountains to set her up for that hit, and it follows up with him attacking her with a barrage of punches and kicks that she's inclined to block, not take it to the face. So I feel like it's reasonable to put Android 18's raw power at 1.75 times Vegeta, which is a domination multiplier that allows it to easily overwhelm him. And I feel like his stamina issues compared to her made him suffer even more. And I don't think 1.25 times is enough for 18 over Vegeta. She took that blast clean and stood up annoyed as hell. I think we can justify making 18 1.75 times Vegeta here. So yes, you can see why it would be difficult for her to take out all of them alone if they teamworked well. But in terms of Super Saiyan Trunks, where is he? Well, he attacked 18 head-on with his sword, a full-on enraged strike to try and save Vegeta. She blocked it effortlessly, to the point I feel like she blocked this heavy hit easier than Vegeta's attacks. I feel like Trunks' performance here, and getting one-shotted by her swinging Vegeta into him, makes him fall less than Vegeta. I put Vegeta a tier above Trunks here, perhaps a 1.25 times multiplier over him. So yes, he has grown since the Trunks saga. And this would now make Trunks 3rd place in terms of strength, just behind Goku and a bit above Piccolo. So how strong is Android 17 here? We don't get a full gauge on him here, but I believe it's implied and even stated a little down the line that he is the strongest of the 2 androids. How much stronger is he? Well, to be considered the strongest one of the 2, but also appears somewhat relative to 18 in terms of power, I feel like he is at most a 1.25 times domination multiplier stronger than her. So he is stronger, but not tier stronger in terms of a raw power level. A power level that cannot be detected, by the way. And I would love to calculate Tien, Krillin, and the others right now, but they do appear like nothing compared to the strongest fighters, so it would be applying a ton more headcanon than we already are applying. Android 17 was clearly messing around with Tien and Piccolo and could have ended them in a heartbeat if he really wanted to at this point in the Android saga. We arrive at the part of the story where Piccolo fuses with Kami to become the nameless Namekian once again. Or you can just call him Piccolo, right? If you're a fan of Piccolo in the Android saga, thumbs up this video, guys. You'll love this part. Now let's talk Namekian fusion. Let's talk about how much power Piccolo gets when fusing with Kami. Like I said, I do have a headcanon theory on why I put him at that level, so do hear me out before you go nuts with all your own headcanon multipliers that don't even officially exist. You'll like this. So as you all know, this is the manga only, not the anime. It's the manga only. The manga. Now for this, I'm putting Kamikolo's raw power at 1.25 times Android 17's raw power, so let me explain that. You see, in their fight, it was implied Piccolo was the stronger of the 2. He didn't think much of 17's punches, so in terms of just raw strength, I'm going to put Piccolo's power at 1.25 times 17's raw power. But that doesn't mean 17 couldn't beat Piccolo. 17 had a greater speed and stamina advantage that balanced out the fight. Power is not everything. 17 uses an android barrier to cancel out the Hellzone grenade. Now the android barrier is bloody broken. It's an extremely powerful energy technique that magnifies 17's power that can deal with many stronger attacks from beings who are stronger than 17 himself. It easily generated 2 times Piccolo's Hellzone grenade to cancel it, but that was for defensive purposes. Passively, Piccolo was stronger through a raw power sense, which means fusing with Kami gave him a 3.8 times power boost. Now, for anyone wondering, is this way too low? Let me explain why it isn't. Being almost 4 times stronger in Dragon Ball is absolutely no joke. It's nothing to be ashamed of. Super Saiyan 2 to Super Saiyan 3 is a 4 times boost. So I want you to think of that magnitude of power and performance when Super Saiyan 2 fought Fat Buu compared to Super Saiyan 3. Think of it that way. But then some may think, well, Piccolo is a Super Namekian, and it's just like a Super Saiyan, so it must be times 50. I see where you're coming from, I really do, but this was literally hype dialogue for Piccolo's power-up. it was Piccolo's turn for a power-up, because it was about Super Saiyans for far too long at that point. Piccolo getting a 50 times boost and then only matching Android 17 would be extremely underwhelming for 50 times Piccolo. Piccolo was a monster before fusion. He grew so strong. In fact, look how easy he could deal with Dr. Gero, and then look at Super Saiyan Vegeta taking on Android 19. Those androids were roughly the same. So yes, even though Vegeta is above Piccolo, Piccolo wasn't insanely out of the picture. He had a lot of plot power before fusing with Kami, and there's nothing stating a Super Namekian is 50 times. So that would also be rivaling headcanon. But when we look at Nail fusing with Piccolo, Nail actually praised Piccolo's power, where Nail was at 42,000. Piccolo's exact power when arriving on Namek was unknown at that point, but it's reasonable to say he was relative to Nail. But either way you want to cut the cake, Piccolo's new power put him rivaling second form Frieza in the 1 million range, making the fusion on Namek easily a 20 times increase for Piccolo or Nail alone. But why is the fusion on Namek so much stronger as an amp than the fusion between Kami and Piccolo right now? Well, first of all, remember there is no set multiplier for it. Secondly, think of the fusion parts. Nail was as strong as Piccolo, possibly even stronger, so Piccolo is joining with someone close to his own power, and that granted a power up of over 20 times for him. That's a big deal. That's getting a huge benefit right there. Imagine Android Saga Piccolo fusing with Android Saga Piccolo. That would be insane. What is the benefit of fusing with Kami from a power perspective? Hell, you could even put Piccolo at whatever power level you want at this point in the Android Saga. Near Frieza, over Frieza, whatever. But I'm asking you, what benefit does someone with Piccolo's current power have with fusing with someone like Kami and his power level of 220, which was stated in source material? Look at it this way, what good would Frieza have by combining with someone not even a quarter of the power of a Cyberman? Exactly, and we know Piccolo is stronger than Frieza here in the Android Saga. So from a power standpoint, would this Piccolo, this stronger Piccolo, gain a 20 times boost by fusing with a power level of 220? No, it's not reasonable to say that at all. But why has he got nearly a 4 times boost? That still feels crazy for Kami's power level, right? It can't benefit him that much, surely. Well, this is where the nameless Namekian comes into it. You see, my headcanon reason why Piccolo got stronger was not due to a power-up from combining 2 strong levels of power. No, I don't think that's the case at all. The reason why he got stronger was because the merger was an awakening of locked power of the original being of the nameless Namekian. That was unlocked when they joined back together, awakening a dormant power, and in my theory, that would be available at any point if they decided to merge back together. Hence why it was implied through the story that the Super Namekian would have the power to beat the Saiyans or Frieza if they merged. Awakening that power would blitz anything pre-Frieza with ease. Think about it, the fusion between Kami and Piccolo cannot be a set times 20 or hell, even a times 50, because let's say Piccolo in the Saiyan Saga fused with Kami then. Times 50 Piccolo and Kami back then. What's that, a power level of a couple of thousand plus Kami's 220? Times 50, it's barely in the 100,000 power level range. That would never be enough to defeat Frieza. Hell, even an Uzaru Vegeta. So the Super Namekian being a 50 times multiplier just doesn't add up, considering the dialogue and its hype way before the Android Saga. And it makes more sense for Kami and Piccolo's merger to be an awakening of a set amount of power, rather than looking at it as a fusion boost, because Kami was worthless and had no power to give. All he could give was knowledge and becoming the original being that he once was. That's where the power comes from, not necessarily the Namekian fusion power amp. So I hope you like that headcanon. I think it's reasonable, but hey, we're all different and this is only numbers at the end of the day, guys. And then we have the arrival of Imperfect Cell. Now it's stated multiple times that this threat is stronger than the androids. And then we have Android 16 saying that one of the powers rivals the 2 of the androids. But it's reasonable to say Imperfect Cell is in between Android 17 and Piccolo's maximum raw power right now, due to Cell being stated multiple times stronger than the androids. Yes, that's a headcanon boost, but it doesn't make that much difference right now. Piccolo still has the edge in power. Some time passes and Cell grows stronger. Now, there's this theory that Cell absorbed hundreds of thousands of humans, so if they have a power level of 5 each, that means Cell gained a power level of hundreds of thousands. But let's be honest, let's say he absorbed 1 million humans. 5 million? I'm sorry, that power level is worthless in growth, even at Namek Saga levels with Goku vs Frieza. Especially at this point in the Android Saga, 5 years later, we do not know the exact amount of power Cell gained or how his growth actually works from absorbing humans. It's never stated to be linear either. Not even absorbing the androids has a linear increase, such as just adding their powers onto his. It doesn't work that way. Cell is very complex, and he grows in his own way. The theory of gaining a few million battle power from just the humans is worthless right now, and doesn't add up to how dominant he is later on when he reappears on the island. Well, when he arrives and interrupts Piccolo vs 17, Piccolo gets absolutely pulverized and dominated by Cell, to the point Cell is only pushed back by Piccolo's own light grenade. Now, the light grenade is a super strong attack. The Kamehameha is 2.2 times of Goku's power. I'll put the light grenade at the same. Now, for this attack to be able to push Cell back but not really hurt him, I'm going to say the light grenade at max power is nearly 1.25 times Cell's normal power, but the light grenade is potentially even weaker due to Piccolo's base exhaustion. 1.8 times stronger than Piccolo's raw power, perfectly able to dominate him and pretty much tank his raw attacks unharmed. Yes, Piccolo sidekicked him, but Cell was off guard, of course. Sneak attack. Then our boy Android 16 rocks up. He's stated to be equal to Cell, but during their battle he does appear to show a bit more dominance, so Android 16 could have a power level around this amount, due to being able to slightly overwhelm Cell by ripping off his tail and disrespectfully slam dunking him like an unwanted blow-up doll. When Cell absorbs 17 and transforms, we get some serious developments. Cell then takes a full power punch to the face by Android 16 and doesn't even flinch. This easily makes Cell enter the 2 times domination range from the easy unharmed tank, making Cell's power 12 billion. He could be much more, but right now we need to go with what we see. Now let's talk about Tien for 1 second. What a goddamn role model. Never in my life have I seen a power increase like this. For a character along with Krillin and Yamcha, who had become insanely irrelevant in power in this show, his Tri-Beam manages to pack the force to hold Cell back. No damage unfortunately, but in terms of force, he is able to push him back. Tien's Tri-Beam is insanely powerful in terms of a multiplier. Even if he had a power level of 500,000 or 1 million, whatever, think about what was required to increase it to do something that Android 16's full punch could not. Not just once either. Multiple times. What a goddamn role model. I don't even have to calculate it. It's the best moment in Dragon Ball history, a big FU to power levels, and a win in its own right, broken or not. Now let us ironically continue with power levels. Vegeta and Trunks join the fight, and this is where the fun begins. Before we calculate Super Vegeta, we have to remember, during the fight, Cell powers up and Vegeta does acknowledge the increase. So we can easily say Cell goes up a tier and gets a 1.25 times power boost from the power-up, putting semi-perfect Cell's full power at 15 billion. We finally see the difference in power when he punches Vegeta square in the face, causing him to budge slightly and bleed, but he still laughs it off. And I feel this makes me put Vegeta at 1.75 times Cell's full current power in this form, due to not being able to tank it straight to the face unharmed without flinching. That would make him 2 times or more, so I'm happy with 1.75 times Cell here. Super Vegeta's power is 26,250,000,000. How strong is regular Super Saiyan Vegeta? You see, when Vegeta arrived and confronted Semi-Perfect Cell, Cell was still feeling confident and comfortable in Vegeta's presence with his current Super Saiyan power. Cell can sense energy. He was only in fear when Vegeta ascended. So what I think is reasonable is that suppressed Cell was confidently 2 times stronger than Grade 1 Super Saiyan Vegeta. And I put that level of Super Saiyan at 6 billion. Base form Vegeta is 120 million, which means his base form got 5 times stronger on its own in the time chamber. That is reasonable. Grade 2 is a 4.3 times boost from Grade 1. Now, Trunks ascends to stop Cell absorbing 18, but he does get kicked by Vegeta and Trunks does blast him. But both of these hits were on each other when they were off guard, so it's not really a comparison of power yet between them both. But they relatively are the same, give or take. We find out later that Trunks thinks he's stronger than Vegeta because he can ascend to Grade 3, but Vegeta knew about it all along, so that cancels out Trunks and Krillin's theory that he was stronger than Vegeta after all. Vegeta knew what the hell he was doing. Vegeta also states Trunks is just as strong as him, but not quite. And maybe that's arrogance talking, but it could also be true because Vegeta is a more experienced fighter. But it just goes to show you both of these guys are close. Their grade 2 forms are pointless against Perfect Cell. There's no way grade 2 Trunks versus grade 2 Vegeta would dominate each other in a battle. They both hold their own ground. So Super Trunks also has a battle power of 26,250,000,000. Now, Perfect Cell. The true glimpse of power from Suppressed Cell is when he tanks Vegeta's kick to the head directly and is unharmed. This is a full power kick, so Suppressed Cell right now is bare minimum 2 times Super Vegeta, and it's scary how much stronger he gets, so let's keep going. Let's put Suppressed Cell's power at 52,500,000,000. Now the final flash is stronger than a Gallic Gun due to it being Vegeta's new, more powerful finisher. The Gallic Gun is around a 3 times of a power level amp, so it's reasonable to say the final flash is a 4 times boost bare minimum. This puts Vegeta's final flash at 105 billion, which was enough to scare the living hell out of Suppressed Cell, enough to damage Cell heavily, overwhelming Cell's durability, but not enough to kill him. Even though it's 2 times Suppressed Cell, Cell can just tap into more of his own power to survive and cancel out attacks with his own energy when needed. It's that simple. He was just surprised Vegeta could jump to that level, and right now I'm putting Cell at 105 billion to showcase his capability of withstanding the final flash and slowly revealing his power. So how strong is grade 3? Well, think about this. Cell was just shocked at the final flash's power, but now look at him. He's even more scared of this new power being generated, which makes grade 3 surpass a 4 times raw power increase. So let's go with a 4.25 times increase right now from grade 2, which is a massive boost in raw power. 111,562,500,000 for Trunks' raw power at this point, which slightly goes above Cell's at this time. When Krillin and Vegeta leave, Trunks powers up again to show his true power. So just like Semi-Cell powering up previously in battle, we will power up Trunks by a further 1.25 times, making his grade 3 max power at 139,453,125,000. And this is why Cell now says it's above his own power by a wide margin. And we have to remember, this means at this point, overall making the final grade 3 power up a 5.3 times jump from grade 2 in raw power, and 23.2 times from grade 1, in brute power of course. Even though Cell says Trunks surpassed him in brute power, you will find out much later that Cell is a lying piece of crap and he's still heavily suppressed right now. He's just playing around. Cell utilizes the brute amp on top of his current suppressed power. This is not the same level of power he uses against Super Saiyan 2 Gohan later on. This version is a much weaker one because he's activating the buff form on a lower battle power. The brute power of Cell scares the living hell out of Trunks, so we can say suppressed Cell raised his brute power at least 1.25 times stronger than Trunks right now, making Trunks lose his advantage. Buff Cell is 174 billion. This is a 1.6 raw power increase for Cell when he uses the buff amp on his current level of power. We will go with that right now. This is nothing compared to the Cell games though. Now, after Goku emerges from the time chamber, he asks Karen to gauge his current power against Cell, and this is a reliable gauge right now. You see, Goku uses about half power. Karen has felt the power of Cell so far and makes this clear, so we will go with the combat power he used against Trunks rather than the buff amp. And that's just my preference because the brute power amp state, I see it as a DLC pack to the real power, and it isn't really used to create a balanced overall fighter. So Karen has felt the 105 billion power level of Cell. He knows it's not Cell's full power, and it's reasonable to believe Karen thinks Cell still has another 50% power based on what he's felt so far. So Karen compares Goku to Cell's possible 210 billion power level. Karen says Cell is just a bit stronger than Goku, and in Karen's mind, he is reiterating it by saying Goku doesn't stand a chance. So I feel like Karen estimates Cell to be 1.25 times to 1.5 times stronger than Goku's max power, making Goku's maximum power here 168 billion. And that would equate to 1.2 times Trunks' ascended power, just demonstrated. And not just in brute power, but in everything. Speed, stamina, a well-balanced form. This is a huge ascension over Trunks' display power with no drawbacks, which would absolutely dominate Trunks' current grade 3. And that makes sense, right? Piccolo uses the time chamber for the first time. When he emerges, Goku says he's gotten a lot stronger. Obviously not enough to deal with Cell, but to be a lot stronger, for Goku to say that straight away, and because this is Piccolo's first big year training with the power of Kami, and because Piccolo was stronger than Vegeta and Trunks when they first entered the chamber, then Piccolo is definitely coming out as strong or stronger than Vegeta and Trunks the first time. I easily place Piccolo at Super Vegeta's level for these reasons, and that's 26,250,000,000, so he got 8 times stronger. And when Vegeta and Trunks emerge a second time, they widen the gap again. You will find out their strength during the Cell games. So let's go there right now. The Cell games begin. Mr. Satan starts out and is comparable to Final Form Frieza, so we will put Hercule's current suppressed power at 120 million for being able to stand up to Cell with that amount of confidence where he only lost via elimination. But let's actually gauge Goku versus Cell's power. Goku goes full power and is stated he's beyond everyone, naturally. Everyone is in shock except Gohan. Cell powers up, and as we know, it's not even his full power yet. I like to call this Cell semi-suppressed Perfect Cell. The scary thing about Cell is, when the arena is blown up and it's a fight to the death, Cell is starting to overwhelm Goku. The arena rules help Goku stay in the game somewhat. But now, in terms of raw power, Goku is cornered and has to use the Kamehameha trump card. That's how overwhelmed he is in this battle. It's not equal at all. Goku gets a few good hits in here and there, but he's taking more flack than Cell. Now, semi-suppressed Cell is 1.25 times Goku, putting him at 210 billion right now. But here comes our boy Gohan. Let me show you real power. Now, Gohan's power shocks everyone. They've all felt Goku's power. Cell could also sense this power, so there's no reason Cell would use a power less than what he used against Goku. It's the same pace until he realizes Gohan is actually better than Goku, even faster than expected, forcing Cell to turn it up a notch. Gohan's mind was just not in this fight to begin with, but he definitely had a lot of underestimated power. Even as a Super Saiyan 1, Gohan matched 210 billion when he tried. He could smash Cell on his ass when he wanted to and dodge a death beam at close range. So think about that for a moment. If only his mind was in the fight, right? Super Saiyan Grade 4 Gohan is also at 210 billion here, but with motivational issues. Now let's talk about the Cell Juniors and their power along with Vegeta and Trunks. Vegeta and Trunks were only using their Super Saiyan Grade 1 forms in the manga. Cell says only Vegeta and Trunks are holding their own against the Cell Juniors, which doesn't include the newly stronger Piccolo. Remember, this is the manga only. And in the manga, everyone gets obliterated. There's no Tien and Yamcha kicking the Cell Juniors in the dick, so Earthlings are irrelevant right now. Goku is too weak. Piccolo is not as strong as Super Saiyan 1 Vegeta and Trunks, so we can put the Cell Juniors at 1.75 times Piccolo, as they completely dominated him, and that in turn makes Super Saiyan Vegeta and Trunks 1.75 times Piccolo. Their Super Saiyan 1 forms are 45,937,500,000, and their base forms are 918,750,000, which means they got 7.6 times stronger the second time using the time chamber. This in turn makes the Cell Juniors that too. Cell's current suppressed power is 4.5 times stronger than the Cell Juniors. If Goku was at full power, he would be 3.6 times stronger than the Cell Juniors, where he would have a chance. But he is far too weak right now. But how strong is Grade 4 to Grade 1? This one has been debated many times. There's multiple answers. So what do I use? Well, if we use the notion that Grade 4 is still the regular Super Saiyan but with enhanced stamina, and the style of training enhanced Goku and Gohan's base forms even more, then it would still be a 50 times boost. But doing it this way, it makes Goku's base form 4,200,000,000. Vegeta's base is currently 918 million, so 4.5 times stronger? Is that reasonable? It would also allow us to continue using the 50 times multiplier for Super Saiyan 1 rather than use an additional multiplier later down the line. I think it's very reasonable to still go with Grade 4 being a 50 times boost, but a state of Super Saiyan with pure efficiency due to the base form being trained better. But you could go with working out a multiplier for Grade 4 if you wanted to, but it confuses a lot of transformation multipliers later. But if you did go with that, think of it this way. I can confidently say that Goku is more advanced than Vegeta and Trunks, which is why they don't have the power to access Grade 4, so it's reasonable to suggest Goku's Grade 1 is at least 43 billion, like Vegeta and Trunks, making Grade 4 at least 3.6 times Grade 1, and that would make Super Saiyan Grade 4 a 180 times multiplier from base form. So which way would you go? Personally, I prefer keeping this simple and perceiving Grade 4 as an advanced Grade 1, where the user is just supremely stronger through their training to access it. 50 times without any drawbacks of being a Super Saiyan and making Goku's base 4.5 times Vegeta's here due to his training style. I also believe Goku could utilize grade 2 or 3 to raise his raw brute power, but it would cause stamina and energy issues, and I believe Goku needed that balance when fighting Cell rather than brute power, because as we saw, brute power alone didn't work against Cell. Now without any further delay, Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. Now the multiplier for Super Saiyan 2 is 2 times Super Saiyan 1, so technically SS2 is still 100 times base form in Gohan's case. But here's where it gets interesting. You would assume Super Saiyan 2 Gohan is 420 billion, right? Wrong. It's much higher, let me explain. Gohan didn't get stronger from just the Super Saiyan 2 amp. He also received a power up from unlocking his hidden potential. So all of that rage you see in his fights growing up, those sudden surges of power, which happened without Super Saiyan 2, Gohan's incredible power we see in the Cell games is a combination of his Super Saiyan 2 amp and the base form rage surges that unlocks his power, to which he can now access passively. So the question is, what is the unlocked potential of Gohan's rage? What was he holding back this entire time? Well, remember against Nappa or Frieza, there were times his power level were calculated to range between 2 to 4 times in those rage bursts. I'm not going to reveal Gohan's maximum Super Saiyan 2 power until we further work out Cell's further power-ups. It's absolutely shocking. Just know that Super Saiyan 2 Gohan is not just 2 times the level of Gohan we saw at Super Saiyan 1. First things first, he moves so fast Cell can't even see it. One-shots the Cell Juniors and Cell finally powers up to full power. Now Cell's power-up, I'm going to give him a further 1.25 times boost, putting him at 262 billion 500 million, and this power is essentially 1.5 times Goku. So it's a complete obliteration of Goku's maximum power. He stood no chance. Gohan doesn't give a shit about this power level. Cell punches Gohan square in the face, and Gohan does nothing but look pissed off and unharmed. 2 hits and Cell is obliterated. Cell is backed into a corner and overpowered, and eventually uses his buff form, which we calculated to be approximately 1.6 times his power. This would put Cell at a shocking level of 420 billion, to which he tries to hit Gohan but cannot. Gohan is also unfazed by this increase and clobbers him with 1 hit, enough to knock Android 18 out of Cell, so think about that for a moment. How easy was that? Gohan dodges, yes, but his own raw power clearly destroys this powered up buff Cell, a form which is all about brute power and tanking more than being balanced, and Gohan smashes it easily with 1 hit. So I'm putting Gohan's maximum Super Saiyan 2 raw power here at 1.75 times Cell's brute power to showcase overwhelming dominance. Super Saiyan 2 Gohan is 735 billion, which means he got 3.5 times stronger in this transformation, 2 times from the Super Saiyan 2 form amp and the rest from his dormant power unlocking. Remember, Gohan had dormant power long before Super Saiyan, but now it's finally harnessed for war, and this means his base form has increased as well. Anyway, let's talk about Super Perfect Cell. When he comes back, it's told to us that he's powered up like Gohan, and how I calculate this is how Gohan was still super confident in getting ready to beat the living hell out of Cell. This was before Vegeta interfered, so I still put Gohan at 1.25 times Cell, which makes Super Perfect Cell 588 billion. So he can still begin to overwhelm Cell, but it's as close as Cell can get to think he has a chance now. Now, Gohan cannot move insanely fast in the Cell anymore, and he suffered severe damage from Cell. So there's no way Gohan is 1.75 times Cell anymore, and definitely not 2 times Cell to tank his attacks unharmed. Gohan was hurt badly, whichever angle you want to shoot from. It was a bad wound, and that's why I put him at 1.25 times Cell here before the injury, but Cell took advantage of that situation and closed the gap. Before we get to the finale, let's talk about Vegeta's power here. Holy shit, does he get a power up here that everyone ignores. I'm gonna flat out say this, his rage at this point over Trunks' death makes him almost as strong as Goku, but look at these panels in the manga. Vegeta does go apeshit and launches a strong energy attack. Cell actually braces for impact, and this is a big deal. He's actually anticipating some heavy duty hit from Vegeta. I want you to think about what this means in terms of energy and domination multipliers. 2 times the power to tank attacks unharmed without any effort. Yes, Cell was unharmed, but 2 times is when you can just stand there effortlessly and take it without budging. Cell braced for his goddamn life. Look at him. The raw surge of battle power for Vegeta is a huge win for the Saiyan Prince here, because it means Cell is at most 2 times Vegeta's rage here. Let's say this angry super powerful energy blast raised Vegeta's power on a low ball by 2 times, which is what huge energy attacks do. This means that Vegeta's attack was 294 billion, and Vegeta's Super Saiyan power jumped to 147 billion, which is a 3.2 times power increase in the form, putting him just under Goku's 168 billion. Does this power stay for Vegeta after the battle? We assume it does, since it's one of those "that's my Bulma" moments, right? So why not? Now, as for Gohan vs Cell, after the injury, Gohan states his ki is half, and Piccolo also shouts Gohan's ki is too weak. So it's obvious, right? Right now Gohan is at half power, because of the damage sustained by Cell. Now you remember energy is officially stated by Akira Toriyama to be made from health, mind, and courage. The health vigor part of Gohan is lowered a lot from the damage and fighting, and this also lowers his right-mindedness, as well as courage, allowing Cell to just dominate him. But the whole theme here is believing in yourself. When Gohan put his mind into it, his ki rose, proving it's not all about the health part of the ki. But when Gohan wins, it's when his Kamehameha is over 1.25 times stronger than Cell's. And Vegeta's hit doesn't really do anything to Cell in the manga except act as a trigger for Goku to tell Gohan to put his mind and soul fully into this fight, which he did. So here's my power levels during the Gohan vs Cell beam struggle. As you can see, they constantly fluctuate due to Gohan's mentality, but eventually gets to the point where Gohan just overwhelms Cell. And when Gohan's base form is healed up after his potential unlock, he is at 7,350,000,000, which is 1.75 times stronger than Goku's base. Acceptable for the hero of the Cell saga, who finally utilized his maximum mind, body, and spirit. This is the manga only, not the anime. No History of Trunks special, no Dragon Ball Super retcons. It keeps everything a bit more grounded, because the anime is chaotic to scale. In the Dragon Ball Z Trunks story special, The Lone Warrior, we get the build up to Trunks traveling back in time to find Goku, but we also get the last moments of future Gohan and how he matches up to the androids of the future. Let's find out how powerful these androids are compared to the main timeline androids. One thing I will say is that we don't see the final fight between future Gohan versus the androids in the manga, but it's heavily implied Android 17 would deal with future Gohan alone. And if that is the case, we can work out how strong he is. Now in the main timeline, Trunks refers to the main timeline androids as terribly strong, and that the androids of his timeline weren't like that he could actually put up a decent fight by himself. Now in order to gauge Trunks to the future androids, we have to take into account the power Trunks had when he arrived and fought Goku when Goku returned from Yardrat. When Mecha Frieza arrived, he boasted he could probably defeat Goku now, so it's reasonable to put 100% Mecha Frieza at 150 million. In the previous installment of this series, I've got Super Saiyan Trunks at 1.75 times 100% Mecha Frieza to heavily dominate him. Super Saiyan Goku is 1.25 times Trunks, and I think that's pretty reasonable. Now, future Trunks said he could put up a decent fight against the androids, meaning both at the same time. And he said this when he had a higher power compared to when he first traveled back and warned Goku about the androids. Trunks' power had increased the next time he turned up, when Dr. Gero was on the loose. When Trunks first arrived, he had a power level of 262,500,000 and got decimated a week or so before that by the future timeline androids. So what does Trunks mean by a decent fight? Well, I don't believe he's equal to both androids at the same time, but I do believe they are jumping him because he's a threat. However, when he encounters the main timeline androids, Super Saiyan Trunks is around 950 million. So I believe Trunks' new power is above one android individually based on the fact the androids gang up on you. That's their theme, especially in the future timeline. So I put both future androids 17 and 18, 1.5 to 1.6, Super Saiyan Trunks, enough to keep the pressure on him. Of course, 17 is stronger than 18, making him 1.25 times stronger than her. The difference in power from the future androids to main timeline androids is around 3 times more powerful than the future models. When Android 17 fought future Gohan and took his arm, 17 was at 50% power, which is actually the power of Super Saiyan Goku after Yardrat roughly. So presuming Goku continued training for a while in the future timeline before the heart virus, Goku could have gained a tier to reach 410 million. Could Goku really have made a difference in that battle? If he was there, I don't think he could. They would need a lot of luck on their side, and future Gohan's maximum potential. I'm going to leave Goku's power level the same as it was when he came back from Yardrat, so at the very least, future Goku maintained his power of 328 million. Now future Gohan just before his death said he wants to become as strong as Goku before he died, so 328 million. Future Gohan doesn't surpass that. He also says Trunks is likely to surpass his own own power in just a few months. And yes, in the manga, Trunks is already a Super Saiyan when he's training with future Gohan. And this makes me believe 3 years after Gohan died, Trunks could have surpassed Gohan. Hence why he was eager to take on the androids when they attacked. Still not enough, but it would make sense based on Gohan's assessment of Trunks, and Trunks showing a glimmer of hope. And even if you think it was the heat of the moment and Trunks was just eager to stop the androids, you could argue that he wasn't quite the level of future Gohan, but you could definitely be reasonable and say they were both around the same level of power at this point. So where is future Gohan's power? Well, just before he left Trunks, he gave off the vibes that he was going to die in this battle anyway. He's been training for 1 year to face the 50% Android 17 again, as well as Android 18, so in my estimation, I do not believe Gohan had surpassed 50% Android 17. Gohan thought that was Android 17's best, that maybe he could scrape a victory. But I've got 50% Android 17, around 1.5 to 1.75 times future Gohan, making future Gohan 260 million, which is very close to future Super Saiyan Trunks 3 years later. Gohan did gain some strength in that 1 year training, but it was not going to help. His character was doomed in that timeline with his lack of potential there. His base form though would be around 5.2 million. When it comes to future Vegeta, if we put him a tier below Super Saiyan future Gohan, then we've got him at these power levels, 208 million. This makes his base a little bit more than Goku's 3 million on Namek, and is actually believable since the android events were a good few years after Namek. It's believable Vegeta's base would be around this level. Alright, so what about when Trunks returned after training in the hyperbolic time chamber in the main timeline? Well, he's an absolute monster compared to the androids and even in Perfect Cell. We know that. Here are the following power levels. 100% 17 and 18 together would be slightly more than base Trunks, but base Trunks could give the two a decent fight, and potentially win if he plays it right with the skills he's acquired, but it would be a risk. Therefore, Super Saiyan it is, and he crushes them. Super Saiyan future Trunks is now around 60 times Android 18, fully explaining how one blast sent her to the next dimension, and 17 to follow. Now, I assume Imperfect Cell is not as strong as Ginger Town Cell in the main timeline. I'm inclined to believe he's more around the level of base Trunks, as base Trunks could push Cell with brute force power, launching him into the wasteland. It was a surprise hit, but still, he wouldn't be able to do that to someone of Piccolo fused with Kami levels in just base form. That's my opinion. So future Imperfect Cell, I've got at 1 billion. For whatever reason you deem it. He could be higher, and the same as Ginger Town Cell, but either way, Super Saiyan Trunks devours Imperfect Cell. And that's it for the future timeline in Dragon Ball Z. We will eventually get to the future Dabura and Goku Black fights during the Dragon Ball Super power levels. We are now at the Buu saga of our Why Power Levels Matter series. If you're excited for this saga, hit the like button for me and help this video get out there to go even further beyond the algorithm. And thank you so much for watching. I just want to remind you that this Power Level series is based on the manga only. So no anime of Dragon Ball Z, as anime scaling can get insane. So let's quickly go through some key power level landmarks at the end of the Cell saga, and bear in mind, the levels of Gohan are post-awakening. So his Super Saiyan 1 form is more than it was before Android 16 died due to further potential unlocking. These are when the fighters are at 100% fully healed, and when it comes to Vegeta, this is his power level post-Trunks' death, as his explosive power reached a new level after that emotional suffering. Piccolo and 18s are relevant here, as they will appear during the Buu saga. I haven't included characters like Tien, Yamcha, or Krillin right now, as their power levels weren't able to be calculated accurately in the android's arc, but there may be a chance to ascertain their power level in the Buu saga. Without any further delay, let's push through into one of the first critical landmarks of the Buu saga, and that's Gohan meeting Vegeta after 7 years, whilst at Capsule Corporation pre-tournament. Gohan wants to enter the tournament. Vegeta also wants to enter the tournament and says no, he's going to be the one who's going to win. Gohan hasn't even been keeping up with his training. Now, I've made this calculation before on how strong Vegeta is after the 7 years, but before Babidi's mind control. We all know Goku surpassed Gohan due to Vegeta's statement when Goku went Super Saiyan 2, but the reason why I believe Buu Saga Vegeta surpassed Cell Saga Gohan is because that was a level of power Vegeta would have been training to surpass. That was the greatest landmark for his training motivation. Furthermore, when he confronts Gohan, Vegeta is confident to make the challenge towards Gohan. Even though Gohan hasn't been training, Vegeta wouldn't take satisfaction in someone who hasn't trained. He wants a challenge like a Saiyan. So this is where I believe Vegeta's confidence in his own power has him a tier above Cell Saga Gohan to make sure that he would be comfortable taking him on. Unfortunately for Gohan, he slacked off, which makes it even easier for Vegeta. And this soon becomes apparent in the fight with Dabura. But Gohan's power, it has decreased from his peak Cell Games power. He can still access Super Saiyan 2, and because Gohan gains some natural growth from aging, it counteracts some power decrease from lack of training, and I think it's reasonable to say start of Buu Saga base Gohan is 1.25 times weaker than base Gohan at the end of the Cell Games after his awakening. Now, the Supreme Kai is an interesting one. We know he's one of the surviving Lord of Lords from the original 5, who each could defeat Frieza with one hit. Makes perfect sense because base Gohan, even untrained right now, is around 50 times final form Frieza, so I don't need to go into any further detail about one-shot in Frieza at this point. What power level does the Supreme Kai have? Well, after shaking Goku's hand, Goku says, cheerfully, that the tournament won't be a clean sweep. But then when the Supreme Kai aims to freeze Gohan, Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, he's unsure if he can stop that power, but he still manages to do so. So it's reasonable to say Supreme Kai is a tier below Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, but enough to shake up the tournament for Goku's interest, making Shin nearly 4,000 times Frieza on Namek, explaining why he one-shots him no difficulty. Dabura is stated to be around the level of Cell. That's how Toriyama gauges him through the dialogue of Goku. And it's quite simple to understand Dabura is not the main villain of the arc because he's an expendable measuring stick, benchmark, landmark to gauge where everyone are since the Cell Saga and the last big boss. Dabura is compared to Cell for that purpose, to see the training progression of everyone else in 7 years. The strongest Cell is what Dabura is inclined to be. It makes sense through narrative and power itself, and perhaps a little bit more than Cell due to Goku specifically stating afterwards that he's more of a problem than expected. So I believe it's reasonable to put Dabura above Super Perfect Cell, but not above Super Saiyan 2 Gohan from the Cell Games because Vegeta expected someone like Dabura to be defeated by Gohan, so I placed Dabura's power level in the middle. And this would make perfect sense that Vegeta believed he could take down Dabura, as his Super Saiyan 2 form would devour the Demon King by 1.4 times. And perhaps even more if we put Dabura at Super Perfect Cell exactly. But when it comes to Gohan, it doesn't matter if you think he's Super Saiyan 1 or 2 against Dabura. Either way, Dabura eats Gohan alive. You could even apply the fact that Gohan didn't get fully healed by Kabito after the energy absorption, which puts him at an even more disadvantage. But Dabura was literally toying with Gohan the whole time and classed him as fodder, something a lot of people miss. Dabura is heavily underestimated, and even if Gohan utilized Super Saiyan 2 against Dabura, Gohan was going to grow weaker faster than Dabura because he's out of shape and cannot maintain it. Whereas Dabura is a veteran and has a ton of techniques up his sleeve, which Gohan got lucky with. Alright, before we get to Majin Vegeta, I want to talk about Pui Pui, or Pocus, as well as Yakon. Now I want you to bear in mind, Supreme Kai brags he can one-shot Frieza and at the same time shows caution and even potential fear towards Pui Pui and Yakon. This is obviously for drama, to build up the fights, and it's during this time for me, Supreme Kai loses the Supreme in his name. So knowing that, you can easily put Pui Pui above Frieza, which is hilarious, but where would he stand as a power level? You could completely highball Pui Pui and put base Vegeta at least 2 times Pui Pui to tank and dominate him. I would say 10 times at least, but that's my headcanon. But a headcanon Pui Pui could have a power level of 1 billion, which is still 8 times Frieza on Namek. It's crazy. Supreme Kai says he never dreamed Vegeta, Goku, and Gohan were this powerful, but obviously he gauged Super Saiyan 2 Gohan earlier to freeze him, so this is just a massive contradiction for dramatic purposes. It's best to ignore Supreme Kai at times. When it comes to Yakon, Yakon actually pushed base Goku back and nearly caught him with an attack that Goku didn't expect, but base Goku still clobbers him even in the dark. Therefore, I put base Goku at 1.5 times Yakon, perhaps 1.75 times, as he still needed to dodge him. Yes, he feeds Yakon Super Saiyan energy to make him explode, but theoretically base Goku could have taken Yakon. Alright, so let's talk about the Kili measurement that Babidi used to measure Super Saiyan Goku's power, as some people think Super Saiyan Goku in the Buu saga is the same level of power as Super Saiyan Goku on Namek, which is completely false. It doesn't even work, considering all of the Cell Saga events and everything else for that matter. 3000 Kiri as it's referred to in the manga, and Yakon is stated to be 800. So Super Saiyan Goku is supposed to be 3.75 times Yakon here. And that cannot be Super Saiyan Goku at full power, because it makes zero sense if they literally just showed base Goku whipping Yakon and then gets a 50 times multiplier. The only way I can defend the 3000 versus 800 measurement is if Super Saiyan Goku is heavily suppressed and only using his Super Saiyan form to light up the place, which was the purpose. So 3000 Kiri isn't Goku's maximum Super Saiyan 1. Max Super Saiyan 1 Goku is around 87.5 times Yakon, so should have a true Kili reading of 70,000. And no, Dabura is not 4000 Kili in the manga, that's only stated in the anime. And as I said, I am not scaling the anime. Now in the 2004 V-Jump issue, it said that 1 Kili equals 50,000 battle power, which would mean 3000 Kili equals 150 million. Super Saiyan Goku on Namek. And that's currently far less than his base form right now in the Buu saga. So that's where the confusion comes from. Remember, this is V-Jump. It can be used as supporting material as long as it's combined with other material. It's not core material and should never be used as the only core evidence. You need to look at the whole picture, including other material as well as the actual manga story of Dragon Ball, and realize the Kili to battle power measurement in V-Jump just doesn't work. So we won't be relying on V-Jump for scaling of the actual manga story here, because to think Super Saiyan Goku in the Buu saga is the same as Namek Super Saiyan Goku is completely wrong, and it would mean we have to erase every event in between where Goku was stated to grow stronger. Bye bye L-Jump. Anyway, Goku shows a glimpse of Super Saiyan 2 to make Yakon explode in an instant. Even Vegeta states Kakarot surpassed the Super Saiyan wall, which is the first time he realized Kakarot was above his own Super Saiyan 2 power. When we get to Goku vs Majin Vegeta, it's quite simple. Vegeta gets a buff to his raw power, which then puts him equal to Super Saiyan 2 Goku when in combat. This is the buff Vegeta needed to close the gap on Goku, excluding Super Saiyan 3 obviously. But then being equal in base Super Saiyan 1 and Super Saiyan 2 during the Buu saga is pretty much cemented in history. So Vegeta gets the 1.25 times boost from the Majin power-up, going up a tier in power. During their battle, Gohan encounters Babidi and Dabura again, to which Majin Buu finally surfaces. Buu stomps the living hell out of everyone. So how strong is Majin Buu Fat Edition? Well, we know Super Saiyan 3 Goku is 4 times Super Saiyan 2 Goku, so by calculating his power, we can estimate the raw power of Fat Buu, not necessarily his hacks. Which, let's be honest, his insane healing ability is what pretty much prevents him from dying so many times, even against Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta. Super Saiyan 3 Goku has a power level of 4.5 trillion, Fat Buu has a power level of 3.6 trillion. The reason why I've put Fat Buu's raw power 1.25 times below Super Saiyan 3 Goku is because you have to realize, Fat Buu is powerful, yes, but he's not as powerful in pure raw power as Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Later down the line, Goku claims he could have killed Buu. You have to understand something about Majin Buu. If you took away his hacks such as the regen, and he had just a mortal body with raw power, how strong would the raw power alone actually be? And how easy do you think Super Saiyan 3 Goku could kill someone of Buu's level if they were just flesh and blood? Let me tell you the answer. Pretty damn easily, multiple times. Buu suffered blows that would kill flesh and blood. In fact, Goku wasn't even damaged and he can't even heal like Buu, so I think that's a reasonable explanation. Even a Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta hit Buu with 2 different deadly energy attacks, where only the regen saved him, not his level of power. But what about Majin Vegeta's attacks versus Fat Buu? Fat Buu survived Vegeta's explosive moves through regeneration hacks, not as in tanking, as in he doesn't budge from the force. The one focused blast Vegeta charged that pierced Buu is easily a multiplier of a Kamehameha 2.2, if not more, due to its deadly focused energy. I call it the Atomic Blast, because that's what it was called in the Budokai 2 game, and I love that series. Anyway, I'll give my headcanon on the multipliers after the Gallic Gun, which I think are reasonable, and ones I've used throughout this series. With the final explosion, I've got it as 1.8 times Fat Buu, which is believable as it blew him to pieces. Anyone else would be dead, but again, regen hack, something far superior to Cell's regen ability. And let's calculate Goku's Super Saiyan 3 Kamehameha for the moment. We saw Fat Buu endure Goku's Kamehameha, but I don't believe for 1 second that was Goku's best attack. Or was it charged to insane levels? It was only big enough to pierce his gut, and if Goku did intend to kill Fat Buu, he would have summoned a stronger blast to do the job and cover the whole of Fat Buu. The Kamehameha is already stronger than the final explosion, even if we put it at 2.2 times. Let me also tell you why Super Saiyan 3 Goku is much stronger physically than Fat Buu here. Buu learns techniques extremely fast and launched a Kamehameha at Super Saiyan 3 Goku, and Goku literally deflected it with raw might, proving he can easily summon the power to deal with Fat Buu's potential 2.2 times multiplier, with tons of room to spare. We will calculate Goten and Trunks' power because they are fighters I haven't bothered to calculate yet since the start of this arc, so let's work them out now. We get a good idea of where Goten and Trunks are when they battle Android 18 in the tournament as Mighty Mask. Now, something important happens in this fight that we all need to be aware of. Android 18 takes on Mighty Mask, but it's only Kid Trunks that blasts Android 18, causing her to panic. That should tell you just how powerful Goten and Trunks are individually. So after 7 years, what would Android 18's power level be? Not that their energy can be sensed, just a power level equivalent. Well, we don't know if she's trained. We could say it's still the same, but going by the understanding that Android 17 grows over time by doing absolutely nothing, I think it's reasonable to apply some growth to Android 18 in 7 years, even if it's not much, as by the time she appears in Dragon Ball Super, she's far stronger anyway, so 1.25 times stronger since the Cell games is nothing to brag about, but it's something. Kid Trunks says that his Super Saiyan Energy Blast won't kill 18. That's Android 18. Trunks doesn't really know how strong he actually is, and holds 18 in high regard here, as you can tell. Now here's where it gets interesting. Goten tells Trunks not to use a full power Energy Blast, and Trunks says I know, implying he does hold back with this attack. However, Trunks' attack was so strong and fast that Android 18, even though she managed to dodge it safely, still got scared by how powerful Trunks and Goten really were. She was never this shocked when fighting Super Saiyan Vegeta in the Android saga. Here she tries to end it as quickly as possible before it gets messy. So that instantly tells me Super Saiyan Trunks' suppressed power alone there, the Energy Blast, rivals 18 give or take. But I'm going to make a bold claim and say a full power Trunks Energy Blast would be around 1.25 times Android 18, where she is still physically stronger than each of them alone, but is still pretty amazing power for these two considering Trunks scared 18. So yes, these two could solo Frieza on Namek, one-shot both him and King Cold at the same time. In terms of Piccolo, I'm also putting him a tier above what he was in the Cell saga due to him continuously training through his meditations. Nothing crazy right now, but just for consistencies, he goes up a tier. Let's talk about Gohan and his Z-Sword training. He does get insanely stronger just from training with the sword itself in just a day. When he first starts training, he can barely lift the sword in base form, but within a few hours, he is swinging it with more control. Then Goku arrives and swings it with almost the same level of struggle, or effort, whichever you desire, as Gohan. He hands it back to Gohan as casually as Gohan holds it, but then one day later, Gohan had improved again, this time wielding the sword with ease, doing all sorts of spin tricks, showcasing his base power increased loads in one day, and Goku has just been sitting there watching him train in the manga. Therefore, Gohan's base form surpasses Goku's base form now after the Z-Sword training. Following on from this, Goten and Trunks fuse into Gotenks. They actually fly off to fight Buu, presuming in base form, which isn't going to be strong enough. He gets pummeled. Again, there is no inclination that he was using Super Saiyan in this fight, just being an arrogant little punk in base form. Also, they didn't test any Super Saiyan power-ups until the next time around with Piccolo. The fusion multiplier I have used in the past that works well is the strongest versions of A and B added together. Then multiply that combination by 100. Check out my fusion videos for the full explanation on that. It works well in conjunction with all source material given for fusion. At this point, base Gotenks is not even the power of Super Saiyan 2 Gohan at the start of the Buu saga. However, his theoretical Super Saiyan 1 form at this point is pretty damn high, and it would blitz Fat Buu, but also explains why he didn't use Super Saiyan against Fat Buu when he first got pummeled. But funnily enough, after the practice again and becoming Super Saiyan Gotenks, they do indeed get extra arrogant and waste time before challenging Buu, causing their fusion to run out. They could have actually killed Fat Buu if they went straight away, but where's the fun in that, right? The next landmark of the Buu saga is when Fat Buu splits into the good and evil Buu. The power upgrades from the absorptions always confused me in terms of how much they were, but it's clear as day. In Dragon Ball Z, when Buu absorbs, he gets stronger. But it's stated they did indeed split initially, so good Buu versus evil Buu is a split power from the original Fat Buu, with evil Buu having more of the power, around 1.25 times more. However, when evil Buu beats good Buu and they combine, Super Buu's power is around the level of Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks, as demonstrated when both are in the heat of battle and Super Buu meets his match with Gotenks' awesome raw power. The difference in power from the Fat Majin Buu to Super Buu is around 50 times, which is similar to a Super Saiyan multiplier. So whether that's just for Fat Buu to Super Buu, or it's the absorption multiplier, we will soon find out, but initially, 50 times is the power-up Super Buu received. We must consider Goten and Trunks' training in the hyperbolic time chamber. They trained for 7 days roughly because Buu stopped waiting after 30 minutes with the timer. But going into the chamber, they were both heavily motivated, especially Goten. So because these squirts got insane potential, I'm putting them 1.25 times stronger after their 1 week training together. Intense training, by the way, pulling out more of that dormant power ready for Buu. But you got to understand something, when the fight began, Super Buu was toying with these punks the whole fight until Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks. He just wanted a good fight. Interestingly, the Ghost Kamikaze attacks are pretty damn strong. Their explosive power is easily around an 8 times amp, due to Super Saiyan 1 Gotenks' ghosts maiming Super Buu unexpectedly. It's a deadly attack. Now Gohan arrives on the battlefield and taking his ultimate level as a form, firing it up like Super Saiyan, it's incredibly powerful. The multiplier is ridiculous. Now, in no way do I think Ultimate Gohan is 2 times Super Buu, due to him dodging and avoiding Buu and also fleeing from the explosion, which even Gohan said wasn't with full intention, or he would have destroyed the Earth. 1.25 times is too small of a domination multiplier, and if it was 1.75 times, I feel like he could have ended Super Buu faster than he did and not let him escape at all. So 1.5 times to dominate Super Buu comfortably is reasonable here. Also, Ultimate Gohan is 61 times stronger than Super Saiyan 3 Goku right now. The Ultimate Form multiplier is just shy of 20,000. Which is absolutely insane. Insane. It's essentially Super Saiyan 3 times 50, or Super Saiyan 3 going Super Saiyan, if that makes sense. And I think that works for what Gohan is meant to be, the ultimate form being the next big level of hero power after Super Saiyan 3. Now Buu absorbs Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks, and Buu-Tenks, as some refer to him as, would appear stronger than Ultimate Gohan, enough to begin overwhelming him. Therefore, it makes sense for these types of absorptions to be an addition of power. In this case, Super Buu plus Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks plus Piccolo. The reason why Fat Buu to Super Buu is a 50 times amp here, what makes the most sense is because Buu is combining with himself, and the combined power is a different kind of fused power than simply absorbing a random fighter's power and abilities, but overall a 1.33 times multiplier, which makes Buu-Tenks able to easily overwhelm Gohan, which is what happens. And the reason why I say it's not higher is because Gohan is still able to bust out of the galactic donuts and show tenacity, but the power difference widens between Buu-Tenks and Gohan due to the mind games, and that's a big deal when it comes to fighting. Now, just for the record, in the manga of Dragon Ball, Kid Buu is not the strongest Buu. It's clearly Buuhan, who will be coming up soon. Even Buu-Tenks states he's the most powerful, past, present, and future, and then Buuhan is above that. It's pretty straightforward in the manga that Buuhan is the strongest. The anime is another story, that's why we're sticking to the manga. This is the final chapter of our Dragon Ball Z Why Power Levels Matters series. Majin Buu's final forms, Super Vegito, and the end of Z. Let's talk about Tien because he's a goddamn role model. Now don't take this calculation seriously, it's just for fun. Tien makes an appearance in the Buu Saga and deflects Buu-Tanks' energy blast. Now it's hard to determine Tien's power level because his Tri-Beam only hit Buu's energy ball, of course. We've seen weaker fighters interfere in the past and throw an energy blast to hit another big blast into a different direction and save their friends. So there's no way we can say Tien's Tri-Beam power equals Buu-Tanks' energy blast, raw power versus raw power. Personally, I had Tien at maximum of 1 million for a power level in the Cell Saga, and would apply a 1.25 times training growth over the time skip like I did to Piccolo and other support characters. But there's a way we can have fun and highball Tien to determine his power level from the Tri-Beam. So let's just say, for argument's sake, his Tri-Beam power did somehow get close to the power of Buu-Tanks' blast. Insane, I know, but Tien did in fact shut it down. Now, we all know how insane Tien's Tri-Beam multiplier is in the Cell Saga. I'm sorry, Kiko-ho. It's just ridiculous. In the past episodes of this series, Semi-Perfect Cell had a power level of 12 billion. Tien was at most, in my opinion, 1 million, making the difference 12,000. His Tri-Beam only pushed Cell back, not actually damaged him, so that's why I lowered the Tri-Beam multiplier down to around 10,000 in this case, stripping away that extra multiplier to prevent damage. 10k when Tien digs deep. Let's divide Buu-Tanks' power level by 10,000, and then cut another 1.25 times off that amount because Tien only deflected the attack, not actually match it in raw power. So on the ultimate highball, you could put Ten Shinhan's power level in the Buu Saga at 30 billion, which just falls short of Buu Saga Piccolo. I don't think this is true. I don't see Tien being close to Buu Saga Piccolo. I don't see Tien training and improving that much in 7 years, 30,000 times. Heck, I don't even see Tien being greater than Semi-Perfect Cell of 12 billion. In fact, Tien at most is 1 billion, and that's even pushing it. But as I said, this was just for fun. Tien did indeed stop Buu-Tanks' blast. He did more than Piccolo ever did to Buu. So prove me wrong. Prove to me Tien isn't Piccolo levels in the Buu Saga. What a goddamn role model. Alright, moving on to Piccaboo. Fusion runs out, and Buu is essentially Super Buu plus Piccolo plus Goten plus Trunks. Piccaboo absorbs Gohan, a Gohan that got healed up by Dende, so the full ultimate Gohan power gets added on, and we get the strongest Buu in the manga. A monstrous mountain to climb, but then we get Vegito. What is the difference in power? Let's take a look. Wait, first, what's a theoretical Goku? Could Goku have done the job? Despite Goku's worries of getting weaker fusing with Hercule, Supreme Kai never had to worry about his power dropping when fusing with Kabito. Potara fusion is actually the addition of the two powers, then magnified. So at bare minimum, due to Hercule's power being worthless, the combined power is just Goku's power alone, which would then get magnified 100 times. So the strongest version of Goku is Super Saiyan 3 Goku, times 100 equals base Goku. Goku in base is putting up a decent fight against Buhan, and I'm not even joking. And because he's now a Saiyan human hybrid, the guy might actually be pretty insane in terms of potential and battle prowess. Even without Super Saiyan, he may have what it takes. He's obviously a 10 out of 10 for charisma, and Hercule ain't no martial artist pushover. He's pretty skilled, and he's a very intense guy for his level. If anything, Goku with all that power now is going to be as intense as Kurt Angle, the three eyes, intensity, intelligence, and instant transmission. But because he's Goku, he should know Super Saiyan 3. No issues for hybrids to become Super Saiyan. Well, Super Saiyan 1 is all he'll need at the push. A theoretical Super Saiyan 3 Goku is pretty incredible, and I'd love to see that mustache light up golden like Hulk Hogan. Finish Buu off with a Super Saiyan 3 Ultra Dynamite Leg Drop Kamehameha. Bet you never saw this coming. Fusion is incredibly broken. Alright, so let's discuss Kabitokai's power. Kabito's power is unknown. We know he's nothing in the Buu Saga. He got one-shotted by Dabura. His power may not even be relevant at all. So let's roughly go with Supreme Kai's power alone times 100 for the Potara fusion. Using just his power alone, assuming Kabito is worthless, it puts Kabitokai around the level of Super Saiyan 2 Gotenks, which raises so many eyebrows. Obviously the write-in made them unaware of the Potara's secrets until old Kai came into the equation. Yeah, so Kabitokai could have probably one-shotted the Fat Buu on his hatchin', but obviously at this point in the Buu saga, it's irrelevant. Still, Kabitokai on paper is 10 times Super Saiyan 3 Goku. He could be a little higher or lower depending on how you gauge Supreme Kai and Kabito. The logical reason Goku goes to fight Buu and not Kabitokai is because Goku is going to fuse with Gohan to make a stronger fighter than Kabitokai. It's not like Kabitokai can go down and fuse with Gohan, right? Right? Or heck, Kabitokai would have fused with Goku there and then. If you don't want to believe Kabitokai is this strong, then look at it this way. According to the Daizenshu's, the Supreme Kai is far superior to Super Namekian Piccolo. So if you took 2 Piccolos in the Buu saga and put the Potara on them, they equate to nearly 2 times and could one-shot Fat Buu. And that's Buu saga Piccolo, who felt totally irrelevant in power the whole saga. So whichever way you want to look at it, fusion is incredibly broken. So let's not have any tears about Kabitokai's power. But there is another way to calculate Kabitokai's power level, as there is one massive contradiction, and that's why didn't he do anything to Kid Buu when he arrived? If he's 10 times Super Saiyan 3 Goku, why didn't he one-shot Buu there and then? And that's my thoughts exactly. And it doesn't sit well with me. Kabitokai should actually be that strong, and theoretically could have in the story. But plot is the plot. So the other way we can go about this is going with the basis that Supreme Kai is as strong or stronger than Piccolo somewhat to go in line with source material, Piccolo being 32 billion, so we can lowball Supreme Kai at 35 billion. No idea how someone just stronger than Piccolo can hold a Super Saiyan 2 Gohan in place. Oh well, a means to an end. Let's take Kabito's power level, where source material say he can give Gohan a difficult fight, as long as he doesn't turn Super Saiyan, but not necessarily defeat him. So let's go with a tier below, 4.7 billion, combine them and multiply by 100, and we get 3.9 trillion, where Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Kid Buu could beat Kabitokai like this, and that could explain why he didn't get involved with Kid Buu, that he couldn't get the job done if Super Saiyan 3 Goku couldn't. That's another way to look at it, but I'm just throwing in both ways to go about it because Kabitokai can be really strong and not used through the plot, or he wasn't quite a match for Kid Buu or Super Saiyan 3 Goku because he pooed his pants when Kid Buu arrived. But even as a low ball, he could likely defeat the Fat Buu on arrival. Funny to think Supreme Kai and Kabito could have defeated Buu all by themselves if they knew about the Potara. Anyway, we now get to the granddaddy of them all, Vegito. And I think you can already foresee just how powerful this monstrous Saiyan fusion is due to the combination of 2 insane fighters like Goku and Vegeta. The reason why a Goku and Vegito fusion are so damn powerful is due to the fact it has powers like Goku who are just ridiculously higher than Goten and Trunks. And we know how awesome Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks was. Again, fusion is busted in Dragon Ball, guys, and these power levels work well with old Kai believing base Vegito would be enough to defeat Buuhan. We never see base Vegito fight Buuhan in the manga, but the old Kai insinuates he could have won. But here, base Vegito would be 1.2 times stronger than Buuhan. Super Saiyan Vegito is a no-brainer. He absolutely wrecks Buuhan in the manga, no competition. We never saw the true depths to his power, but I feel like these are reasonable power levels. We saw electricity on the initial transformation panel for Vegito, but he's called Super Vegito, and there's no lightning throughout the fight, so we're just going with Super Saiyan 1 here. Now before we move on, want to know the power of Gohan? Base Gohan is already on par with a Super Saiyan Vegito. Super Saiyan 1 Gohan would be 6 times stronger than a Super Saiyan 3 Vegito, and a Super Saiyan 3 Gohan would be 50 times Super Saiyan 3 Vegito. But then we can apply a theoretical ultimate form, which was 20,000, which gives a power level that makes me physically sick. This level of power should not be allowed in Dragon Ball Z. GT and Super, that's fine, but Z, 573 quintillion, which is 2,495 times above Super Saiyan 3 Vegito. And you can see why they didn't include this character, man. I mean, Gohan, for Dragon Ball Z levels, it should be forbidden. Hell, Vegito should be forbidden. Some forget just how powerful he is on paper. He had no equal. Next. After Vegeta rips the good Buu out of Super Buu, they detect Super Buu's ki actually growing for a second. This does not mean Kid Buu is stronger than Super Buu, because Kabitokai states this is a process, and Buu first turns into the buff Buu, where Goku laughs about Buu being on steroids. So this buff Buu, this part of the process, takes Super Buu's ki up a tier. Obviously, the process continues and Buu cannot do anything but accept it. When Kid Buu is formed, Goku and Vegeta brag they can take him. Obviously they can sense ki, and obviously they feel like they have a shot now. But it's also obvious they are making a joke out of how small Buu is. But Frieza was a small guy, and he was looked at as a monster. So that's why I believe there was a massive power drop in raw power from Buff Buu to Kid Buu. Which is why Goku and Vegeta took that massive drop of power for granted, combined with how Buu looks, to make a joke out of it. When it comes to Super Saiyan 3 Goku versus Kid Buu, I've always had them in the same ballpark, due to them swapping punches and kicks with each other. Kid Buu obviously has a massive advantage in stamina, recovery, and hacks, whereas Goku is at an even bigger disadvantage due to using Super Saiyan 3 in his living body. Therefore, raw power-wise, I put Kid Buu the same as Super Saiyan 3 Goku, which is 1.25 times the original Fat Buu, and even more deadlier than Good Buu, hence why Kid Buu ruined him. The reason why you could justify the Good Buu initially hurt Kid Buu is the same reason Vegeta Super Saiyan 2 hurt Kid Buu. They put a ton more energy into certain attacks, which heightens their power multiple times, but passively, as a power level, nowhere near enough to fight Kid Buu constantly, even with his healing. Either way, just because I've put the raw power of Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Kid Buu the same, doesn't mean Super Saiyan 3 Goku is better or could beat Kid Buu. It was stated he tried to kill off Kid Buu. Kid Buu has insane healing hacks and his energy did not drop, but Goku's did. That's what created more issues as the fight went on, and Kid Buu dragged it out because he knew Goku was getting weaker. Goku did have the raw might to hurt Buu initially, but he didn't have enough to kill him because Buu had insane regen. Like I always say, if Buu was flesh and blood, what damage would Super Saiyan 3 Goku do to him? When we get to End of Z, I interpret the Angry Oob, relevant in raw power to Kid Buu's raw power. Albeit untrained, Oob was everything Goku expected him to be, and Goku was waiting for this moment, training and waiting to fight him one-on-one for 10 straight years. And Goku even questions that someone else other than them or Buu will win, meaning the power he sensed from Oob, it's as strong as Goku, Vegeta and Buu. So you can see why, if Oob tries, even here at the tournament, he could easily be around Kid Buu level. Again, he just needs to be trained on how to use it. It would be besides the point of being the reincarnation of Kid Buu if he didn't have the same power as Kid Buu within him already. You were just like I expected, and he means like Kid Buu. He even says you don't know how to use your power. Not that you don't have enough of it, and the power Goku meant was displayed seconds ago that competed with base Goku. Another reason why Oob's power is the same as Kid Buu's when he gets going is because Goku tells him not to be nervous. It'll restrict his ability. That should tell you something about his power. In terms of other power levels, we cannot gauge them here. Apparently Goten worries about fighting the Good Buu, but we don't know if the Good Buu has grown in these 10 years. In this Dragon Ball continuity obviously, so we'll only go with what we can gauge. Even with Vegeta it's hard to tell where he's at. Their powers could have grown at the same rate as they did from the Buu saga till now. And that's Dragon Ball Z completed. Thank you for watching this power level series. I will be moving on to the Dragon Ball Super manga, so if you've been a fan of this series, why power level matters, hit the like button and subscribe for the rest of the journey. Obviously when we go through the Dragon Ball Super manga, we won't include the end of Z from what we've just read because there are so many changes and it contradicts the powers due to what happens in the events of Dragon Ball Super. Until we meet again.